On this week's episode, it's all about football. We're talking the CFL, Brady, Flores, and of course, a Super Bowl preview. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5, season 2, Points and Penalties. For all our listeners, we'd like to remind you to please subscribe wherever you get your podcast. For all our viewers on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking the PMP button in the bottom right of this video. And no matter how you listen to PMP, give us a like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Points Penalties. Once again, my name is Josh, and with me are my co-hosts Kevin and Jesse. Peter is MIA today because he forgot that he needed the internet to do this. Anyway, Kev, let's start up with you. What are you drinking tonight?
Well, guys, I'm going to get it out. This will be my first drink of the day. Unfortunately, it's not my forte to do so, but I'm having myself a little bit of a Vax. It is it's a 8% beer. It's a strong Royal. And let's give this sucker a taste.
It's a strong Royal. Get ready for it.
It's a Danish beer too.
Puke.
That's not too bad at all.
No puking, Kev, after your
Not yet.
night last night?
Not yet. I mean, they could be right at the MVP segment, but we'll see how it goes. Jesse, what are you drinking there, bud?
I am as well drinking a Fax. This was not planned at all. Pretty big shocker, but I'm just drinking the Fax Premium. And like I said, it's a Danish beer. I've actually been to the town Fax in Denmark. Pretty cool. The brewery there is pretty awesome and very old. It was 1901 when they first started producing this. And yeah, mine's just a lonely 5%. But I will be trying this right away as well. Solid. One of my favorites. I usually get it all the time. But this one, the wife surprised me about it. So I was pretty psyched for it. Yosh, are you having a Danish beer as well?
I'm not. I'm staying local, boys. I've got Furnace Room Brewery out of Georgetown. It's called the Fermentator Double IPA. It's pretty cool, fancy cartoon can there. And Kev, I can't let you take the Triumph today. Not by yourself anyway. I also have an 8% beer. So you and I tie, and Jesse's clearly the bitch.
Womp, womp, womp.
I have to give it up once in a while. You guys aren't getting wins anywhere here.
That's fair.
The second season.
Thanks, buddy. See, damn it, we should have changed it. You should have had a minus for the bitch beer.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna try this one for my first time. I'm gonna crack it open here. Give her a whirl. It's more citrusy than I thought. I like it. I like the citrusy. So
You like the citrus beers?
yeah, I do.
Yeah. See, I'm not a huge fan of them. But
It's not super citrusy, but it's more than I thought it was. That's good. Anyway, that's our drinks. Kev, you and I are probably gonna be wasted after a couple of these 8%ers.
Oh. Yep.
good. Let's extend this lead.
More points for Jesse. All right, Jess, why don't you start us up? There's a couple pieces of big news in the NFL this week.
Yeah, huge news. Tom Brady retires, but we'll talk about that later. But he did come out and said he retired, and then Brian Flores dropped this bombshell that he is suing the NFL. The 3 teams involved in this that he's suing as well is Miami Dolphins, Denver Broncos, and the New York Giants. And it's about alleged racism in hiring practices. So in the hiring practices, the NFL has created a rule, the Rooney Rule, where they have to hire or do an interview of a minority outside the building, an external interview. And now they've increased that to 2. So what happened here is there's a couple of different things to this suit. So we're going to talk about what happened between the owner and Flores, because he alleged that Stephen Ross, the owner, attempted to incentivize him to tank in his first season for the Miami Dolphins. And he said he'd give up $100,000 for every loss that season. Flores says that as the team won games late in the season, Dolphins general manager Chris Greer told him Ross was mad that on the field success was compromising the team's draft position. Now, this was the 2019 season. It ended up being that Miami started winning games near the end of the season, and they lost out on the Burrow sweepstakes, which we all know Burrow's in the Super Bowl this year. So
Yeah.
That's a big guy to miss, right? Like he's friggin' he might be the next Tom Brady.
It's
Hopefully
possible.
So additionally, Flores alleges that Ross pressured him into recruiting a prominent quarterback at the end of the 2019 season, which was rumored to be Tom Brady. The coach refused, so not to violate the NFL's tampering rules. Ross then accuses Flores or invites him to the yacht in which the quarterback was there, and he said and he left the yacht saying he doesn't want any part of this at all. Flores refused the yacht meeting because he didn't want to deal with the tampering, and this created issues with him being fired because of him being difficult to work with. And that was what the source was for him when he was fired, that he wasn't getting along with upper management with like Chris Greer or
so because he wouldn't cooperate with cheating and doing things that you're not supposed to do.
Right.
That's why they're saying that he was hard to deal with.
Yeah. So like it's pretty crazy too, because it was the first there's the first seasons with back-to-back winning seasons since they've had since 2003, and yet he was fired. So he might have a case here. We're going to get into that. Was for the Miami. Now with the Giants, Flores has alleged that the Giants interviewed him last month for their head coaching vacancy for no other reason to comply with the Rooney Rule. So what happened in this issue and why he's found evidence is because Bill Belichick lost who he's texting. He thought he was texting Brian Dable, but he was actually texting Brian Flores, congratulating him on getting the job with the Giants. And Flores hadn't even taken an interview yet.
Belichick fucked the Giants on that one.
So like you can tell that there's a lot of like other text chain messages that everyone isn't else on, but Belichick is, because a lot of them come to him for hiring and everything like that. So it's pretty crazy. So the storyline that I have here, it was 3 days before he was supposed to get the interview where he got Belichick's text messages. And then he actually went to the sham interview just to see if they were actually going to follow through with this and everything like that. He was giving them an opportunity to change his mind. And that wasn't the case. And then afterwards, he filed this lawsuit against them. Another issue was with in 2019 when he was still looking for a job before the Miami Dolphins job. So in 2019, Broncos head coaching search that included the general manager, John Elway, arrived an hour late and hungover, alleged drinking heavily the night before. So again, it might have been a sham meeting because this was when they hired Vic Fangio. So he's got a lot of evidence towards this suit right now, and especially with those damning text messages from Bill Belichick. So my questions to you guys is, do you think this lawsuit has merit?
It definitely seems to. When you add in the extra Hugh Jackson aspect to this as well, who agrees that other teams, like when he was with the Cleveland Browns, were kind of doing the same thing. They weren't necessarily bribing him to lose the games, but they weren't necessarily trying to win the games, is what Hugh Jackson is saying. So
he walked that back. He said that wasn't the case.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't want to challenge you on this because I don't know if like what's going on, because it seems pretty shady for him to say, like, because he said like they were going to pay him like $50,000 to lose games, and it was one of Cleveland's worst stretches.
Mhm.
Like they, with his tenure, they won like, I think the first 2 seasons, 1 game.
Yeah.
That was when they had the 0-16 and they went 1 or 1 whatever 1-15. So it's pretty interesting to see if that is true or not. Like he's come and said he's rolled back that, but I don't know if that's someone getting to him or something like that. Like it seems weird.
Right. Okay. So
And
even
it was
still,
a bad stretch.
Mhm. Yeah, even still, if it's a totally separate story or whatever, the timing of it, like, why would he come out with it and then pull back, right? That, like, immediately, that's kind of goofy. So, like you said, maybe somebody got to him. So, but that's neither here nor there. But because of that, it really makes me believe that there actually is a merit to this suit. Especially with, like you said, those texts from Bill, like. This probably wouldn't have come to light had it not been for Bill's fuck up here.
Because
Or
he
not
said
for a
that
long time.
he said he thought he was talking, like you said, Jess. He thought he was talking to the coach that actually got the job,
Brian Dable.
Yeah,
the
and then
Bills
at
OC,
at the end of that text message that I saw on the sports show, showed at the very end that Bill Belichick says, "Ooh, I thought I was talking to."
Mhm.
Well, instead of having, my bad. So yeah, I mean, as of right there, there's your merit. I mean, how can this guy say you got the job and hasn't had the interview yet?
Yeah, like, I mean, I could see if the Giants, you could say that, oh, we really like Dabble and that's who we want to go with. But for then you to go and tell Belichick that that Dabble's got the job, but well before Flores even gets the interview, that's, I don't know. To me, okay, it might be a sham interview, but at least conduct it professionally so it's not a sham interview, right? I mean, whether the guy's black or white, if you really want this coach and he seems to fit your scheme and what you want to do, I understand not interviewing more candidates, but based on what's going on here, by telling other people outside of the Giants upper brass, it definitely seems like there's a sham here, and that I think there is merit here, and it'll be interesting. I don't think he's already said that himself he might not get another head coaching job, so I think it's bigger than him coaching. I think he's worried about trying to fix it is what he wants to do.
Right. So that was my second question, was if he get another job. The other thing too is there's only one other black coach in the NFL right now. Like, I know the Dolphins just hired, like, literally before we got on, McDaniels from San Fran, and he's biracial. But before that, it was just Tomlin. Like, they had Rivera, who's Latino, and then they had Saleh, who's Lebanese, I think. So they do have some minority coaches, but when the Rooney Rule came in play, there was more black head coaches in the NFL than there is now,
right?
Which is crazy. So, and I get what the Giants did. So their GM, Joe Scorn, I think his name is, he also comes from the Buffalo execs, right? So he wanted a package deal, or the owner probably wanted a package deal with the Bills guy being Brian Dable, because he was the offensive coordinator for Allen, right? So that makes sense to me, but don't be telling everyone he's hired before that, right?
That's the thing.
Like you gotta, and there's been I've read a bunch of other stuff. Like, there's a lot of people doing these sham interviews, and the Giants have never had a black head coach. And they, from what I've heard and listened to, they've been doing the bare minimum of the Rooney Rule. Like, they've just been interviewing one outside minority coach, right? Like, so it's pretty interesting that they continue to do this. And we already talked about them, like how they fired coaches that only have 2 seasons and 3 consecutive time coaching hires, right? So it's weird that they continue to do this, like, let some other people have a chance. And you got to think that this is going to shake, obviously, Flores' career, but he was happy for Dable that he got it. He just didn't think the practice, the way that the Giants went, was the issue, and he thinks that also falls on the NFL. But he's really just going after the owners, really, is what he said.
You know, like for the first portion of the lawsuit, like because of the $100,000 per loss, I would not put it past the Miami Dolphins to do that. I also wouldn't put it past a team like the Cleveland Browns to do something like that. So that's, you know, and they were shit for so long, right? So it just,
that's the thing. It propelled them to what they are now, right?
Well, right, exactly. When you get all those draft picks, you know, up in the higher end consecutive years, you're definitely going to end up being better, right? In the coming seasons. Well, you hope anyway. If you're scouting and you're drafting is good. That's crazy. For me, will he get another coaching position? It will depend on this suit. If he is right and they find that the other parties in all aspects are guilty and there's nothing made up about Flores' story, then he 100% gets another job.
In the NFL, or do you think you'll get another one to say, yeah,
all right, in the NFL?
Yeah.
But this is gonna take a while. Like this decision is not gonna go through the courts in a day, right? It's gonna take a while. So I mean, maybe not as long as I think it might. I don't know. I can't give you a time frame, nor does that matter. But I think if it comes out on top without settling, because if you settle, you're just saying, you know what, okay, maybe I wasn't 100% truthful, right? You're like, let's get this out of here. Just, you know, you pay me a little and I'll be quiet, right?
So settle.
So if he goes through with everything and the other parties are basically found guilty, then I think he does have a very good chance to get another head coaching job. If they settle or it's the other way around and they say courts say that Flores is an idiot and was lying the whole time, then no, obviously not. He doesn't.
So it'll be interesting with that $100,000 loss per game that they might try and get Stephen Ross out of ownership there. Like
especially if you can prove it, right? What is the guy going to hand him 100,000 cash? There's still going to be, that's awfully hard to hide 100 grand. I would think. I mean, I'm sure businesses know how to do that, but you know what I mean? Like they still got to get the cash to him somehow if this actually happens. So whether it's cash, a check, you would see a check going through or an e-transfer, whatever, you'd be able to find that. And
you could hide it underneath something though. You could probably be like, oh, you got a certain amount of wins when you weren't expected, right? So, or just hide it in some sort of way, more or less. I would think that you would get because they all get there was another story with Arizona Cardinals. Now there was just rumors they weren't going to pay the head coaches or the coaches their bonuses. So maybe you throw that into your bonus, right? Like it say head coaching bonus, but again, that was a rumor. I don't know if that's true or not. But see, I don't think he will get a head coaching job, no matter what the outcome is. He's a great head coach. I think personally, I don't think he's been given enough shot, but he usually when you go and sue against the NFL, your time is done in the NFL. Like just look at Kaepernick.
Yeah, I was going to say, look what happened to Kaepernick. I mean, the guy took a knee. The guy's never seen a game ever again in the NFL.
But he also ended up suing the NFL too. So before discrimination too, because he got blackballed, right? And this is probably what Flores is going to happen. He understands, like you said, Yosh, he understands that completely, and he will hopefully get a second chance. But it's unlikely to me. They'll just, like I said, they'll settle this out of court, sweep this under the rug, move on, and hopefully they might get Stephen Ross out of ownership, and maybe you'll see a black ownership in the NFL. But it's difficult. Like I think the Broncos for sale now.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I think
the Jaguars have a minority owner, do they not?
No, Shah Khan is.
Yeah,
or a minority. Right? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, he's a minority. Yeah, I think he must be. I don't know. He's got that weird mustache.
Well, I think that Flores definitely has some merit in regards to suing, But like you said too as well, Jess, I mean, we all know what happened to Kaepernick. I mean, if he did sue the league and he's never saw a game ever again, I see the same thing happening to him. I don't see him coaching again. And if he does go coach, I mean, he'll probably go down to the NCAA or something,
Or maybe
college.
even the
Or where
CFL.
else?
or the CFL. Never know.
So why don't you tell us about what is going on in the CFL there, Kev?
So what is happening with the CFL here is that, well, first off, we're going to start off with this Genius Sports. Now, these guys were formed in 2016, and they merged with Bet Genius. Now, they are used in a number of professional sports. I'm going to say like the PGA, NCAA, NASCAR, FIBA, and the Premier League, along with some other soccer leagues, and no other than the NFL as well. So they've done.
I've never heard anyone call it the NCAA.
It is the NCAA.
Yeah, but I wanted to say
Certainly is.
NCAA.
I've even heard NC2A before. But
Well,
Yeah.
AA, that's fine with me. Eh? So with this partnership with the CFL, with the data capture management and analysis tools to help run their sport, unlock new revenue streams to protect the integrity of their competitions, well, fully automated streaming technology, production, and distribution services that help showcase sports to the world. So Randy Ambrosi, the commissioner of the CFL, stated that our partnership with the Genius Sports has a potential to launch new era for the CFL. So what I have to ask you guys here, do you think this group can help the CFL like they've done to the other sports that I've mentioned? And do you guys think that the CFL needs to change some of their rules to make this, I guess, a better game?
so what does this company do for the CFL, Kev?
This company is going to do the same thing that they've done for the PGA and the NFL. They're just going to try and get them to stream the games to, like, people that wouldn't get the CFL games and be able to bet on the CFL.
So there's sports book.
Yeah.
I mean, any gambling will help out any sports revenue team or league, I would think.
Yeah, but it might not necessarily draw real fans, right? Like
Just gamblers.
Just gamblers. Like, well, and I mean, Jess, you bet on some games. Are you a fan of every team that you bet on, or every league? Like, obviously, okay, you're a fan of the NFL, you're a fan of the NBA as a whole, but do you care about the Portland Trailblazers?
I mean,
Right?
I bet against them.
Okay, you might bet against them, but you're not a fan, right? Like, they're actually not even. They're in like 10th or not, so they're still in a playoff chance there. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just don't think that, although, like you said, just 100%, it will bring in revenue through gambling. I don't think this is the way that they need to grow their game. I don't think this is going to work with this. Yeah, okay, if they can stream it and they can get it out to other countries and that are interested, but remember how the NFL Europe went? Not too good. Now, NFL, when they go to Europe now, is awesome because they get 3 or 4 games a year and that's it. So everybody wants to go. But when they had 6 teams in Europe or whatever it was just as good as the CFL. So basically the US is football. Everywhere else doesn't really care that much about it. Obviously there are, Canada is huge because it's here. Maybe even Mexico would be the next biggest. And then obviously you're going to have parts of Europe, but it's not as big as it's never going to overtake soccer and anywhere else in the world. Pretty much. North America has all these other sports, everywhere else, soccer. So I just don't think that by trying to, of course it's going to help a little bit, but it's not going to change their business or the business wealth drastically, in my opinion. I think they need to grow from the grassroots. They need to get kids wanting to play in the NFL. And maybe that means you got to increase the salary caps.
I mean, the
Because
CFL,
the salary
right?
in the CFL, yes. What did I say?
NFL.
Oh, my bad. In the CFL for sure. Because the salary caps are super low in the CFL. So, obviously when you want to be a football player, you want to be a baseball player, and that's obviously it's a passion, but eventually there's like, I want to make millions of dollars doing this too, right? And if you can only make on average $60,000 to $80,000 in the CFL, if you're not the quarterback, do you want to? I mean, yeah, you're still playing football and whatnot, but I just don't think they're doing enough to get kids to want to play their game. And no, I don't think they need to change the rules other than maybe make it a little safer with the field goal post in the middle. I think everything else can stay the same because that's what makes it different. Otherwise, it's the NFL's little brother.
And that's what you want, though. You want it to be like that farm system, which it was before when it was fairly popular. Like,
if you can make it like that, perfect. That's the ideal thing, but then you're completely changing the game.
Oh, well, not changing the game more or less, but you want them to be the farm team. You also want more teams like this, like we've talked about before last season a lot. There's not enough teams. Like only like 2 teams don't make the playoffs or whatever it is. Like that's out of the whole league.
Can we support that though as Canadians?
Right, and that's where we gotta, like, I know we did dabble in getting some American teams before, and I'm guessing it was a failure, but the only, because there's none anymore, right?
No.
The only issue too is there hasn't been an American league underneath the NFL to even survive. Like you got the XFL that started, what was the AFL or whatever, AFL or whatever it was?
Arena Football League,
yeah.
Well, there was also one that was started not too long ago either, but only lasted 1 season as well. I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, they had the Arena Football League, which was different. And I actually watched a couple games of that. That was pretty fun. That's where Kurt Warner was. He got there, right? So it more leagues definitely builds more people to watch, and you get to see some people rise to the crop or rise to the top. But it still, this new revenue stream that they're trying to do, it's good, but they got to see profits or else it's not going anywhere, right? Like, like they obviously signed a contract. I don't know how many years it is, but you have to be able to make a profit. And we'll see. I honestly don't know if it is going to. I think betting on it will help a little bit. There's tons of money to be made in sports books right now. But yeah, like Yosh says, like there's not a lot of people looking to watch anything but the NFL around the world.
Right.
Well, and there's so many players that do nothing after college, right? In the US after the NCAA. And it begs the question of why, if these guys want to play, why don't they come to Canada and play for the CFL? Is it because of the rules? Is it because it's just Canada? They just don't want to come up here. Like why is stopping all these great players that are just okay? What is stopping all these good players from making the NFL, but could easily transition and make it to the CFL from coming up here? I mean, maybe for them it's a cash thing because they're like, well, if I make the NFL, I'm definitely making $1 million, and if I go to the CFL, I can make 80 grand. I don't know.
It's also a roster percentage need to be Canadian players in the CFL too.
Fair.
Yeah, so that's also running up that issue, I believe. But
so they should lower that then, because then
they have lowered it. Like it was before, like at 50%, and 45, and I think it's now at 40. It could be maybe even lower. But they're trying to continue to have Canadian players in there. But the problem with Canada is there's not really sports scholarships for the Canadian universities, right? So when you have that, you have lots of people more worried about grades because you can get academic scholarships than you can with sports scholarships. So it's just I think the universities have to help them out a little bit too in that way, because you're going to get these players that don't have the brains, which a lot of football players don't, to play there. And you can even argue with what you were saying, not making enough cash. Like, football's a brutal sport, right? You're gonna make whatever $60,000 or whatever it is to go like ruin your body, and
Exactly.
you won't have, especially if you're American, like you have to pay for your medical care.
I mean, not while you're on the team, but
No,
yeah,
but yeah, afterwards you will probably be paying for it yourself. Like
yeah,
I'm
because
sure that the insurance for a CFL isn't that great afterwards.
exactly, yeah.
So they're not paying their players a whole lot. Why would they be paying a whole lot in insurance
Mm.
when they go back to the States and they have bum knees and everything? So it's there's a lot of issues. You got to raise the cap for sure. Uh, I'm fine with where the goalposts are. I get why you think that it is a safety concern, but they put pads around it.
Well, and the problem is if you move it all the way to the back, that makes insanely long kicks. So it changes that game completely then, right? What is it,
Yeah.
20 yards? The
The end
zone's
zone is
20 yards.
20 yards.
So
Yeah.
add another 20 yards. So a 30-yarder is now a 50-yarder. Like that's, you're not going to be very many kicks. Let's put it that way.
Well, I personally, guys, don't think that this group can do a lot for the CFL. I think the CFL definitely needs to change their game. Again, 20-yard end zones, man. Do you really need 20 yards to catch a touchdown? I say you put it to 15. I mean, what's 5 yards taken off of it?
I'd be okay
mean,
with 15.
Yeah. I mean, their width of the field is 12 yards wider than the NFL. So if it's 12 yards, mind you just bringing in like six more yards on each side.
But there's also two more players on the field.
Yeah.
So there's more. It's a bigger team.
It is a bigger team. I understand that there's more, field of play, but I mean, what's 6 yards? I mean, again, 6 yards is somewhat huge, but I mean, 6 yards is
6 yards is a lot, man. Like when
yeah.
you think about how much you're putting now, you're putting 8 guys in the box. Think about that. Now you're putting 9 guys in the box because that's the only space, right? But just using that as an analogy, like everybody's going to be way tighter together. It's going to be more difficult to run routes, and there's going to be so many picks because guys are just straight up running into each other, which is not what you want. Like, especially in the CFL as a passing game, they want guys to be open or be able to run downfield. If you shrink it 12 yards, man, that's a lot of space. A lot of space to remove from the field.
I just say there's some rules that they can definitely fix. I mean, with in regards to the CFL to make it a more, I don't know, eye watching, to be able to sit there and have to grab the fans to sit there or grab new fans. That's all.
But wouldn't you say that with more spacing you'd see bigger plays? That's what grabs fans. Like that's what that's why you see all the huge TV ratings when in a closer game where there's tons of scoring. Right? And that's what the CFL was more or less before the NFL decided to go more towards a passing game. Right. And if you eliminate those 6 yards, like Yosh was saying, like there's a lot less space. These guys aren't as talented as NFL guys. That's why they're here. Right. So like you said, you're going to see a lot of bad play or in sloppy play. Like it's not going to be, to me, as good.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with the extra players and so on and so forth. Like
but we can all agree upon just shrinking off that end zone then. I mean, honestly, guys, who needs 20 yards?
You could shrink it.
5 yards, I'd be down with. I think, especially when you get closer to the end zone, like because you're also a full yard off the ball, whereas NFL, you're right on that line of scrimmage for the defenders, right? But for CFL, you're a full yard off that ball, so there's a lot of more running plays that happen in the red zone. I don't know if they call it the red zone there, but I'm
it's probably like the yellow zone or something. Green zone.
All right. I kind of like that combo with that CFL there, guys. Appreciate it. I guess we're going to get moving on to our MVP segment here.
This week's MVP for points and penalties is from one of our favorite teams, the Raptors, Gary Trent Jr.
Yeah.
He ties the longest streak in Raptors franchise history for scoring 30 or more points in 5 straight games. He now shares that record previously held by DeMar DeRozan. So over the past 5 games, he has shot 31 of 60 from distance, with at least 5 3-pointers in each contest. I know, Kev, you want to move the 3-point line back. But no, we're going to keep it this way because our boy is dominating.
Yep.
And in NBA league history, only 3 players have had streaks of 30 plus points and 5 plus 3-pointers over the 5-game stretch. It's Harden, Leonard, and Curry.
Pretty fucking top end names to be in the same conversation with.
Alongside, for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy to be in that company. And with that, we will discuss on, do we think we won that trade for Powell?
You mean giving up Powell for Trent?
Yep.
100% at this point we did. I mean, the Trailblazers just traded Powell. Not that that's anything bad against him, but
yeah, it's more of the team not doing so good.
Yeah. So, but still, and he's still a good player, and he's a good commodity that they can move. So, good for them to actually do that. And maybe when they look at it as like, oh shit, we gave away Trent, but in the end, we got this guy and this guy and this guy. So, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. Between the Raps and the Trailblazers, 100% at this point, we got the best of this trade. I mean, even I guess now that Powell's gone, even in the future, Powell becomes the best player of all time. It's still a better trade for Toronto because because Portland didn't keep him, right? If he becomes the best ever. We obviously know he's not going to be the best ever, but
we would have both lost that trade if that.
yeah, for sure. I think Gary is a great player. I'm glad that his hair has grown a little bit so he doesn't have these dangly things in front of his eyes. That always drove me crazy with his hair, but I think this is a good
He's
trade.
Seeing clear now. Right?
Exactly. See? Exactly. So no, pretty happy about Gary. I love watching him play, and I thought it was going to be a pretty easy choice to go with the old Scotty Barnes jersey, but damn, this guy's he just signed a 3-year contract. At the beginning of the year, so we got a couple more years to go with them, and
I think
that means you can get a jersey.
Yeah, I think the 3rd year is an option though.
Maybe.
But I think we're a young team, so he's going to want to stick around for that time, anyways. I've been a big proponent that I like Norm Powell a bunch, more or less because of the run that he helped us huge 6-man off the bench there.
Yep.
For that 2019 victory to bring home the Larry O'Brien. But I agree with this trade. We have won it at this point. And like you said, Powell wasn't playing too bad, but Gary's been off the charts right now.
Yeah.
And this is what he came here to do, was shoot threes, get a bunch of points. But his defense has been crazy good.
Yeah.
This year. He's been top in steals. Like I don't know the exact numbers, but at one point he was in the top 5 in steals, like total steals, not that per game crap.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Nick Nurse challenged him, right? He's like, I need you to play this hard on offense and then twice as hard on defense. And I don't think he wasn't necessarily up for it, but he's like, what? That's a lot of work, man. And then Nick Nurse is like, yeah, man, that's a lot of work. So get to it. And he's really transitioned well, and he's a great fucking player.
I mean, I think you have to give a lot of praise to Van Vliet there, because I think he helped them about a bunch, because you got those guys both killing it at shooting threes right now. Their starting lineup is great. Like, it's not a big lineup, but everyone does everything pretty well for the most part.
And they can play multiple positions too, right?
Yeah. So they run a bunch of different things, and they keep all their bigs on the bench, which is completely strange because you always usually want a big man in there for the paint. But with these guys lineup, I know I said at the beginning of the season, that's what I wanted to see. I was like, I want to see OG, I want to see Gary, I want to play some small ball. But when they did have some of the smaller guys in there, they were getting out physical, I found. But now that they're getting everyone healthy back, because like I think it was just like right when Spicy P came back, he was still hurt. He wasn't playing a lot of minutes, and he's still getting in game shape. And now he's another guy that's been really ripping it up lately. Had a big night Friday, was it?
I mean, it's every other night. He pretty much has a big night. He's been on fire. Van Vliet's been on fire, obviously, with his all-star nod. OG's been good. Even like Boucher's been good. And like even
Boucher finally shows up.
Yeah, even when Precious has come in as of late, he's been pretty good. And when you have kind of everybody going, it's obviously going to make things better, and you're going to trust in your guys more. And you can throw it, you can pass it over to Precious, and you're not going to be too worried about it, Or like I watched one of the games, and OG missed a corner three, and on the next possession, he's like, it was almost the identical plays. Like, give me the fucking ball in this corner. I need to make this just so that he can, I can do this, and he did it. It was a turning point in the game, and they ended up pulling out the W because I believe they were down. I think it was against Miami.
Oh, that was OG in the OT, and he had like 5 seconds when he got the ball in the shot clock. He started driving, jumped back, and nailed the 3-pointer right on DeRozan.
Right. That's right. Yes, it was on DeRozan.
And then come back to the next possession, and he gets another three on the other side of it wasn't a corner. It was like, it was on the side of the 3-point line, but he hadn't done really much that whole game. If you actually look at his statistics and everything like that, but he showed up in the clutch.
Came up clutch. Yep. And all these guys can do it. If one guy doesn't do it, the next guy will. And they're playing well right now. Playing well. They're 7th place in the East. We just checked it, so nobody needs a challenge. Which we could use a challenge, or we're all gonna get a fucking minus. So you guys better challenge me sometime soon. Actually, no, Kev, you need a challenge, Jesse. Leave me out of it.
I'm taking no part of that at all.
All right,
I do like this. I do like this in regards to Trent coming over with that Powell trade. I mean, like you guys are saying, man, this guy's just lighting it up. I mean, it can only get better. Can't get any worse.
I mean, you could get a little worse, but
he's killing it.
Hopefully he does.
It's a lot harder to go up from there than go down.
For sure. Yeah, I had no issues with Powell, but and I wasn't a huge fan of the trade at the beginning, but
I thought you were.
No, not a huge fan, man. Because I really like Powell, but
okay.
I thought it was probably fairly even, but when it's Powell, you're like, what? I don't want to give this guy up. He's part of that championship team, right?
Yeah.
But man, nothing against Powell, but I give him up every day for Trent.
Would Trent right now have a better stats than Powell, even though the Powell got traded? I mean, like, who's doing better still? I mean,
depends on what you want to say. Definitely steals. I know that. Probably points.
Yeah,
you're gonna challenge me on that.
I mean, Trent's playing he's a starter, right? Where Norm wasn't a starter, I don't think, in Portland, not until maybe CJ McCollum went out. But so he's going to get more minutes, which obviously translates to more opportunities, more points.
Yeah.
My guess is
you could say too, Gary didn't start at the beginning of the year either.
Well, and with the injuries too, right? So
yeah, that was when we had injuries, and then Nurse was like, "Oh shit, this guy needs to be."
Well, even his own injuries, Gary's injuries is himself. Like, he hasn't played every game, right? So, but I would say my guess is I will 100% say that a majority of Trent's stats are better than Powell's. That's what I'm gonna say.
I think Powell will probably have rebounds, is what I'll say.
There you go. We're giving it to you, Kev. We're giving you opportunity.
So good.
Oh, nothing.
No, man. I mean, I already lost one at the beginning of this fucking show. So
Yes, you did.
Pre-game, yeah.
yeah, I always. I mean, that's just me, though, right, guys? I mean, that's who I am.
All right, so quickly to finish this up with our MVP and with the Raptors, little chat here, boys. Where do you guys think the Raps are going to finish in the regular season? Currently 7th place.
I don't see them making playoffs. Sorry,
They're currently in
Really?
7th place, and you don't think they're going to make the playoffs?
not at all.
You think
Sorry,
they'll make the
guys.
play? Do you think they'll make the play in?
Probably
Yeah.
just like the Lakers, or sorry, the geriatrics.
That's different side though. So
Yeah.
what's West? So you think so? Okay, give me a place. So you don't think they're going to finish in the top 8? So are they going to finish in the 9 or 10 spot?
I'd put them in 10.
Oh wow. Okay, I think they're better than that personally. I think they're going to finish right where they are right now. 7th spot. Yeah.
And they have to do in that play-in tournament.
Yeah, but they'll play the 10, right?
Mhm.
They'll play the 10 team. So at least they have home court advantage there. So currently that would be the Hawks currently if it ended today, but it doesn't end today. So.
I'm gonna say they finished in 6th.
6th place.
Yeah, because I think Brooklyn Nets are falling apart. They're looking to trade Hardaway now. It looks like to get maybe Ben Simmons.
Challenge. It's Harden, not Hardaway.
Oh shit!
Yes. Got one from him, Kev. Oh shit!
Feel
You're
good
all
about
right. I
yourself.
will.
It was
I
'cause
will.
I messed up another name.
Hey, because we get down into those scores, you'll see why I'm going to take that one without fucking without allowing too much bitching. But you are right. They are looking to potentially move
Harden.
Harden.
The beard. That's what you should have said. The beard.
Yeah, I guess so. So besides that point, I was thinking about saying 6 because I see the Cavaliers still falling. They're still up there. They're above us and they're up there in 5th. But I think they will continue to fall as the season progressed. They had a pretty easy stretch, and the Raptors had a big stretch where it was tough games, and they got it done. So I think they will continue this as long as they can stay healthy, and they'll grab that 6th spot and not do that play-in.
That'd be fucking sweet.
Mm-hmm.
You'd play. Oh no, you wouldn't play the 1. No, you'd be fine. You'd be playing the 3, right? So, which is Milwaukee right now, but
I mean, like it's still
early.
It's still better than who's ever going to be the 1.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So
I guess
6,
to
a 10 and a 7 is what we think.
To Gary Trent Jr. being our MVP, boys.
Cheers, broski.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, guys. We've let our loyal listeners wait long enough. We're going to talk about the GOAT, Kevin's favorite quarterback of all time,
Fuck you, Brady.
Mr. Tom Brady. It was reported earlier in the week. I think it was last Sunday because we were briefly talking about it on last week's episode. And Jesse mentioned it earlier that that Schefter had reported that Tom retired. Then Tom came out and said, nope, haven't made a decision yet. Even though there was a release post from his verified Instagram account or Twitter account that said that he was retiring. But he ended up a couple days later. He said, "Oh, I haven't made my decision." He talked to the Bucks brass, and he said that he was gonna take a while to decide still. And a couple days later, he posts on social media saying he's retiring, and his time playing football, he can't give 100% commitment to football anymore, which is what he expects everybody to give, and that is himself included. He needs to spend more time with his family and work on that aspect of his life. I mean, the guy played 22 seasons. He's, what is he, 40, I don't even know, 44, 43?
44.
44
He
years
makes
old.
it short of that 45 marker that he wanted.
But damn, that's a lot. It's pretty crazy. So I call him the GOAT because that's my opinion. But here's some stats for you real quick, not necessarily the numbers, but he ranks first in all these statistical categories: wins, Pro Bowl, Super Bowl MVPs, starts, completions, attempts, passing yards, passing TDs, 3 TD games, and 4 TD games. Blow your fucking mind, right?
Yep.
All right.
We've been talking about that forever, so
Yeah.
It's really not a shocker.
No, but it still blows your mind. Playoff ranks first in all of these stat categories: appearances, games started, wins, Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl wins, completions, passing yards, passing TDs, game-winning drives, and fourth quarter comebacks. He's also first in another handful of more in-depth type stats, which I don't even understand half of them, so that's why I didn't put them on here because I didn't need Jesse fucking challenging me on what an EBA is because I don't fucking know.
I'm not sure if I do either.
Damn, I should have put it in there. I mean, I don't see how anybody could say that this guy is not the greatest of all time. If you take his career and split it pretty well in the middle, he could be in the Hall of Fame twice. Between 2000 and 2011, he had 140 and a 41 record, over 45,000 passing yards, over 330 touchdowns, won 16 playoff games, and won 3 Super Bowls. That's a Hall of Fame career.
For sure. That's one of the best Hall of Fame careers.
Then the next one, 2012 to 2021, pretty much the same record, 138 and 44, 52,000 passing yards, 370 plus TDs. We won 19 playoff games and is a 4-time Super Bowl champ. Fucking insane, right? So you compare that to a superstar, Joe Montana, right? Our boy, Joe. Everybody loves Joe Montana. Well, maybe not everybody.
I like him.
Most guys. I love him.
I don't like the guy from the team.
Yeah, you don't like the team, yeah. So compare his Hall of Fame records and his statistics over his career. 133 and 54 losses, pretty well the same both times compared to Brady. 46,000 yards, pretty much the same. 318 TDs, pretty much the same. 16 playoff games he won, pretty much the same. And the 4 Super Bowls that Joe won, pretty well the fucking same. So you can easily see here how Tom could make it to Canton twice. Now I have heard that they are, because it's clear that he is the GOAT, that they may waive, or there's been at least talk about it. Now I don't know if it's from the Hall of Fame or just writers or whatever, but there's talk about waiving the mandatory waiting period to get in, whatever it is, the 4 years, 5 years, or whatever it is before you can actually get in the Hall. There's talk about waiving that because this guy is so fucking good, which is, I've never heard of that ever. But we haven't seen a guy like Tom.
But why would they do that?
Just because he deserves to be in there now.
There's no votes at all that should be done with regards to
I understand
him.
that. Like he definitely is going to be in there. Everyone knows that, but like it just seems weird to change the rules for, like, I know he's crazy good and a different kind of athlete. Well, he's just a different kind of player. But I still think that you got to still do it the waiting period, because this waiting period will be crazy, because you also got Roethlisberger, who we pretty much all agreed on will be a first ballot Hall of Famer as well. That would go in with him.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe if Waddle gets his Super Bowl, he'll be in that too.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, right?
Because he restarted the clock.
Yeah. I never know. All right, so just a few other fun little things here. So the last time Brady was not an active NFL player, LeBitch James, my boy, was a freshman in high school. The Bucs hadn't won any Super Bowls. The Rams did win a Super Bowl. I'm very sure it was the year before. Mac Jones.
It was 2 years before.
Ah, fuck.
It was the 99 season.
He was in 2000. Brady was. That's the year before.
Ooh, Jesse loses another one.
Oh, I see. I misread the. Damn it!
Jesse loses another one.
I was thinking about the Super Bowl. Yeah, you're right. I messed that up. Fuck.
Yes. Oh fuck.
Oh, fuck. Jesse, drink
So-
some more, bud.
It's a great fucking day. All right. So Mac Jones was only 1 year old. Apple hadn't released the first iPod yet. The old school Nokia phones. I don't know if you guys remember the ones
I
that
had one. I
it
had a blue
opened,
one.
like it flipped open, right? So like
Yep.
you got so it opened like this, but you would talk on it with it closed, right? But it would open up so you could text or whatever. That was the one they showed in the picture. Carlos Santana's Maria Maria was #1 on Billboard. The PlayStation 2 was just being released. And Tiger Woods had only won 2 of his 15 majors. That's how old Tom fucking Brady is. He's not quite as old as Kev, but he's up there. He's close. He's close. All right, Kev, I want to start with you because I know you don't like Mr. Tom Brady. He's fucked you. Well, just that one time is good enough to hate him.
That's yeah.
So I got 3 questions. You can bundle them up how you want to bundle them. Is Tom the greatest QB of all time? Is Tom the greatest football player of all time? And will Tom be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Well, I do give him the GOAT. I mean, that's why I dislike him the most. I mean, fuck Brady. But yeah, I put him at the greatest QB. I mean, there are some out there that can be compared, like you said, Joe Mantegna. But no, I mean, for the time that Tom's gone through, I think he is the greatest of all time in regards to that. Being the greatest football player, don't know. I mean, like you mentioned it, there's several other players that can be compared, or different spots, your defensive backs or whatever, but I don't see him being the greatest football player. But yes, he will make the definitely Hall of Fame. I think with you, Josh, he will not even have to have a ballot. He'll be directly put straight in. I mean, I do know that Wayne Gretzky was that too. Wayne Gretzky also got put straight into the to the Hall of Fame without having a ballot. He was one of those exempts. But yeah, I definitely see Tom being there as well.
I mean, he's definitely going to be there, but is he going to be on? Well, I guess you don't even think he's going to be first ballot. You think he's going to be put in prior?
Yeah, he's going to be definitely put in prior for sure.
Huh? That's a hot take, I think.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely greatest quarterback of all time. Obviously, greatest football player of all time. I think so. You can't argue with what he's done. It's.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that no other player in their respective position is #1 in so many categories. So it would be hard to,
Right, and quarterback's the hardest position to play in all sports.
It's the position, especially in football. It's the position.
Yeah, but like they say in all sports, it's
Yeah.
the hardest position to play because you got to know so much. You got to read.
You got a
read
timer
so
going on in
much.
your head, man. You got like 3 or 4 seconds to get that ball out. If not, you're fucked.
Not really.
You
Not
run.
Tom Brady is like under 3 seconds.
Yeah,
He averages releasing that ball.
right.
So he's
It takes Dak like fucking 13 seconds though.
like, it'll be interesting to see that hot take if he just gets written in. That'd be fucking wild. But I still think he needs to take that route the way that they've always done it. Like, even though he's gonna be there, everyone knows he's gonna be there. Like I said, I think he's greatest of all time. The Rams gave him 2 Super Bowls. I'm not a fan of that, but
Fuck you, Brady.
it happens. At least I didn't lose a 25-point lead.
Oh, burn, baby, burn. Yeah, I gotta agree with you, Jess. It is definitely difficult to say he's the best football player based on the different positions, but with all the statistical #1s, I think he is the best. He's definitely the best quarterback, no question. And yeah, I gotta say that for the Hall of Fame, he's going to be first ballot and he'll get 100% of the vote. But I don't think that they're going to just put him in next year. You know what I mean? Or in a couple of years. Like, I just don't think, Kev, I don't think they're going to just appoint him to the Hall of Fame. If they do, that's crazy. It'd be deserved for sure. But I just don't think they'll do it. I think they'll make him wait. So. All right, guys, let's get into the Super Bowl. Just a little bit of a preview here. And then we're going to get into our some picks for us here at Points and Penalties. So the Bengals come in to the Super Bowl being the number 4 seed in the AFC. The Rams come into the Super Bowl number 4 seed in the NFC. Kind of crazy that it's 4-4. You probably don't see that too often.
It's the lowest seed ever in a Super Bowl.
Like combined seed or
like sort of, I guess you would say the highest, I guess you would say. At 8.
Right. Okay. So combined, yeah.
Mhm.
Which is fucking wild, right? But both good teams, completely different makeup, but good teams nonetheless. Both teams have a chance to be without their number 1 tight end, as both Higbee, Jesse's boy, and Uzuma both have MCL sprains, which is kind of crazy that they both have the same injury, same position, both the number 1 guy, just both number 4s. Like there's a lot of similarities here between these guys.
Both in the championship game.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Both injuries came in the championship game. Exactly. So quickly, how much of an effect do you think these two players potentially missing this game is gonna be?
Huge. Your tight ends are always big, man.
For the Rams, this Kendall Blankton, I can't remember his name. He's undrafted. He showed up big. I don't know if you guys saw that one play. I've never seen this in the NFL. I don't know if it's ever had happened where they do a flea flicker to a tight end screen.
Weird. No, I didn't see that.
And yeah, I went to Kendall Blanton and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that. And he played great.
Who's this guy?
Yeah, he played great. He was awesome. He was the only other tight end left on the field because Higbee went out and I think Uzama went out pretty early too, in the first half there, and he did really, really well for not doing much all this year. Like he had his first touchdown of the game last week against Brady, beating Brady. The Rams were the last team. They sent him to be retired.
To retirement.
Yeah. He was so upset. I forgot to say another thing about Tom Brady being retired was Jalen Ramsey had a pretty good tweet.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, he's like, damn, best quarterback ever. And he threw his last touchdown over me.
Yeah.
And it was a bomb. It was a hell of a play. Like I think he caught Ramsey sleeping, him and Evans. But will this affect this game? I think it'll probably affect it both. Yeah, CJ Uzama's huge in the red zone for Burrow, and Higbee, he's an amazing blocker. So that hurts our run game, I think.
Yeah, I think it will definitely affect it. I think I didn't know about your the Rams backup tight end was, seemed to be maybe a seamless transition. He probably doesn't have the same amount of talent as Higbee does, but with Uzama, he's out, but the Bengals have a lot of good receivers, Boyd, Higgins, and then of course Chase. And so I feel like they'll just use the wideouts a little bit more as opposed to the tight ends. Obviously the blocking is a big thing, but hopefully one of the backup TEs can block.
I think it's Sample is his last name, and he's more of a blocking tight end anyway. So
okay,
he just might not be an offensive threat. And with how the Bengals O-line is playing, they just might use him as a 6 O-lineman.
Yep, and that will be fine too, right? But so I think it, like you said, it's definitely going to make an effect for both teams on the way they are playing, but I don't think it's going to be a considerable. You're not going to see one team lose because they couldn't get their ball to the proper tight end, right? All right, guys, picks. It's that time. Picks and hot takes. I'm going to go with the Bengals. I took them last week to beat the KC Chiefs. I was wearing my toque, and I basically just can't cheer for the Rams. So I'm going for the Bengals. I'll be wearing my toque loud and proud next week. And I'm hoping Smoking Joe can throw up a couple touchdowns and a couple 100 yards to Jamar Chase, because that's my hot take. Jamar Chase, 2 TDs and 200 plus yards next Sunday in the Super Bowl. And the Bengies are getting a W. The Striped Kittens. You can hear a little kitten in the background right now. And that's a shout out to the Bengals right there.
There's not a chance that's happening with Chase. Ramsey's gonna be all over him.
He's got to catch him, man. Can't
He's gonna
catch him.
he's gonna show him what it's like to be in the NFL. He's gonna push him off a spot. I'm
No.
more worried about T. Higgins because I know Ramsey's just gonna shut him down. Not even worried about that's a terrible take.
That's hot, man. It's hot. It's gonna come true. I'm telling you. Oh shit. All right, Jess. So who do you got then?
Obviously, I've been preaching this from the beginning of the season. The Rams gonna win this. I wanted last week to play the Bengals. I picked them to win.
You
They
did.
won. That tourney, I didn't pick them, but I definitely picked them last week because I was just like, I just want to see this in the playoffs. And let's not start his career off like Brady, because like I said, he looks a lot like Brady. He rises to the occasion, and hopefully he holds on to that ball like he was doing in the Tennessee Titans game. And I say the Rams get the 10 sacks, one more than the Titans, and set that record. And
Wow.
you got AD, you got Von Miller. Yeah, I like this new guy, Greg Gaines. He's big white boy. He's country strong.
Big country.
he looks really good. I like him a lot. And then you got your boy Floyd. I think he might have the time to go after him as long as they can stop the run, which I think they can do. But I believe the Rams will be eating some sacks this next Sunday.
I also have the Rams, Jesse.
Ooh, there you
take
go.
them.
Finally coming aboard. Here we go.
Caleb, you finally made a right decision according to Jess.
Yeah. No, like I said, I got the Rams. I just don't see the kitty cats doing anything about with Burrow or whatever doing or having a chance to win. Rams all the way. And my hot take is gonna have Cup winning the Super Bowl MVP.
That's a good take. That's a very good take.
I mean, it's hot for sure.
I don't think it's as bold, but I think he will get it. Just the way he's had a
Do you think he's gonna get the Super Bowl MVP too?
I think he might, yeah.
I don't think it's possible, man. Unless he does something like on a special teams or something like that.
No,
like,
man.
Well, look at
even
his
if he
yak
gets
yards.
5 touchdowns,
Exactly.
that means Stafford gets 5 touchdowns.
But that's way more crazy that a wide receiver did all that.
Fair enough.
And it's like what Kev just said, the yak yards. Like this guy was the leader in yak. He beat out Deebo Samuel for the year in yak yards. Like,
yeah,
this guy does it everything. He does blocking. He does run after the catch. He does the receptions, the amount of receptions. He gets all the TDs. Like I was telling you before, like he has had the best wide receiver season ever.
Yeah, 100%.
And we were talking about this, like even if you get rid of that the 18th game in this season, he would still have the most yards ever, combining the regular season and the postseason. That's how good he is. And he would have the most receptions. He doesn't have the TDs because Rice went fucking wild in the playoffs. So that is what it is. But he can tie it. He's 2 touchdowns away from tying that record.
Well, if he gets 5, then he'll beat it. Then maybe he deserves to be the MVP.
I think if he gets 2 touchdowns and like over 100 yards, he wins the MVP.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, what if Stafford throws 6 touchdowns and no picks? Then you don't think that that's a better MVP
Then
candidate?
yes, I agree. I agree with you there, but I don't think that's going to happen.
The fact of the matter is, it's going to be the fucking Joe Burrow is going to win the MVP. He's winning the Super Bowl. He won the Heisman and he won the fucking national championship. He's going to win 3 of them out of the in the last 4 years. And yeah, it's going to be Joe fucking Burrow.
Well, by the looks of it here,
You know what?
too,
I'm going to challenge you on that.
Uh-oh, fuck.
He won it in 3 years if he wins the Super Bowl, not 4. The Heisman, the Natty, and the Super Bowl. If he wins it, it would be in 3 years, not 4.
Wouldn't it be 4 years because he played last year and didn't do anything?
because he blew out his knee.
And then he was in the Natty when he got drafted.
What? The Natty was before last year. He played in the NFL last year.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So he'll have done the Heisman. Oh, the Heisman is the same year as the fucking Natty, right? It was the same year.
Yeah,
I believe so.
2019 is when it was. I saw that too. There was like two of them that he had. Yeah.
So the 3 things in 3 years. Fuck. I hope I'm not giving a point back here.
Well, we'll have to see what Pedro has to say about the other one. But speaking of which, you guys are looking that up. By Pedro not being here, I will state that Pedro's also taking the kitty cats.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, he didn't give us a hot take.
He's a
But-
bitch. That's why he didn't want to take a fucking stab at anything.
But he has the Bengals to win it as well. So we're, Josh got Bengals, Pedro's got Bengals, Jesse and I both have Rams. So it's gonna be a great game though, guys. Can't wait to watch this one.
I think it's gonna be pretty fun, man. I mean, even if it's not, I'm still gonna have fun just chirping Jesse all night. Even if the fucking Rams are winning, I'm gonna have fun just chirping Jesse.
I'm still gonna sport my Crumpler jersey when I show up.
The Jesse with the fucking disgust on. Oh fuck. Okay, guys, we got one more major topic here to cover. It's our penalty box, and I mean, true to this week's episode, surprise, surprise, it's about football. The Washington football team on this past Wednesday had plans to announce their new name after a couple long years of trying to figure it out after being the football team for a couple of years. Crazy. We're just a football team. I thought that was so goofy. But they wanted to make sure that they got their pick right, their team name right. And they were going to do it this past Wednesday. And they did. They did release the name. But unfortunately, there were a few leaks to this name. Former Washington football team quarterback Joe Theismann said in an interview that the team name would be the Commanders and that he thought the fans would like it going forward. Social media obviously went crazy over this because it was a leak. And then Joe later stated that he didn't know what the team was going to be called, and he was just speculating. In a second leak, there was a video that was taken from across the street from the Washington Stadium. And as the video zooms in on the office building, you can clearly see some signs or something to that effect that say Commanders. So again, leaking that this was going to be their team name. So they end up coming out with it. They show the unis and all this, and they're now where they're Commanders. And some people have said that they look like the Washington Commanders look like an XFL team. That what do they say? That XFL team that got promoted because to replace the Jags who got demoted to the XFL, which I thought was pretty fucking funny. But Sunday Night Football play-by-play announcer Al Michaels said this about Washington football team's new name, that people will get used to it and they'll be calling them the Commies, but that's the risk you take when you change the name of a company. And that I laughed when I saw that, because he's 100% right. They're going to be called the Commies. What else are you going to call them?
Well, you have to shorten that down too, right? Like,
right.
The Washington Commanders, like that's a lot of characters.
It's a lot of letters for sure. Yeah.
So Commies is definitely going to be it for sure. I would think.
So
and it'll be funny because it's Washington.
You're going to change the name again.
Yeah.
It'll help out all those conspiracy theories of that Washington is full of commies.
I saw another post or a meme that was like, what a horrible name. You just went from calling your team by some indigenous slander, and now you're calling your team by the name of the people that killed these indigenous from back in the day.
Man,
yeah, exactly, right. And I'm like, that's a tough one. I wonder if the football team thought of that. So They're no longer the football team.
They had
They're
the time. They
Commanders.
had the time to
They
figure
had the
that out.
time. You could have chosen anything. You could have chosen, like, they could have been the Washington Politicians, and it would have been a better friggin' team name than the Commanders.
It'd be pretty controversial.
It
just
would be for
because-
sure, obviously. But
but it's
Still.
still there was the ones that were coming out. There was a lot to do. They wanted to stick to something that was something to do with the military.
military-esque, yeah.
And I don't understand that, but whatever. That was what they wanted to do, and I think one of them was like defenders. Like
Defenders, I heard admirals.
that's not controversial though.
No,
I
exactly.
think you could go get away with that. It's not good, but but it doesn't get this kind of outcry like you just said. I didn't even think about that.
So do you think then that this is like, do you like the new name, and do you think it was a good choice whether you like it or not?
No, I don't think so. I mean, this is about as bad as the Cleveland baseball team that
But
changed their
it's
name
not-
too. I mean,
See, I don't mind the Cleveland Guardians that much. Like it's not like amazing, but it's solid.
No. I just like both of those names. I don't like this one, and I honestly think that they're going to change their name again. Like if they're going to honestly put on that, as what you mentioned, Josh, is their nickname possibly. I mean, come on. I mean, do you really want your team to be called that now as a nickname? I don't know. So I can see them changing this name again.
That's a hot take. I don't think they will. I don't think they're going to be changing it.
Oh man, if you're gonna obviously, like, I mean, if they're gonna call these guys as the nickname, as you guys have here as the commies, I mean, I don't see that sticking. There's no way that's gonna happen.
It probably will stick. man.
It's
I don't
like
think they're
it's
gonna
like when you
change it.
call like the Dallas Cowboys the Dallas Cowgirls. Like it's just like a little bit of playoff words more or less. And being commies like it's not part of their government or anything like that either. I don't see them changing it.
Either do I. I don't think it was. I'm not particularly fond on the name. I think they could have chose something different. I don't have the answer to what the team would have been or should have been. But nonetheless, I think that they could have made a better choice.
Oh, for sure.
Because of this commies potential
Yeah.
and the whole aspect of the commanders were the ones that were killing the Redskins, as you know, as what the meme was that I was or not even meme, just the post that I was referring to. So I think they could have made some smarter choices. Somebody in that head office has got to think about what the team is going to be called. Like we call the Dolphins the fish, right? And that's completely, they're not a fish, but that's what it translates to being the fish. The Cowgirls, the Cowboys, right? There's a whole lot of different nicknames that people make when it's about the other team nickname. And I think you really got to think about that as well.
Yeah.
I got another nickname, and it goes inside with what our first topic was. When Flores first started at the Dolphins, they called it the fish tank that first season. That's a playoff words right there, right? Like they were saying that they were tanking the season to begin with. So that's where the fish tank came from, right? So it's just people that are really creative that make up these things too. So like with them saying that the Commanders, the meme that says that the Commanders killed the Native Americans, at the same time they were just soldiers too, right? So it doesn't really, to me, like it's a playoff words on the commies thing and the Commanders thing. They're trying to stick to the military thing, like Yosh was saying.
Yeah.
All right, so just you did post here in our little chat. You sent a little link, and I was definitely wrong on the Joe Burrow. I said 4 years, and he will do it if he wins the Super Bowl. He'd win the Heisman, the Natty, and the Super Bowl within 3 years. So I was wrong on that. You get your +1, so fuck you.
You mean you get it back?
Yeah, give him one back. So, okay, guys, that's our penalty box. A couple more things here to do, and we're gonna wrap her up. So we'll get into our scores. So before we get into this week's scores, we obviously did our NFL playoff bracket, And that is winding up. And Jesse has already won this quite handily.
Last week.
Yeah, he already had it on one.
I had it like after the divisional round.
Well, and yeah, but second place could have been Kevin's had KC won against the Bengals, and they didn't.
I know, and then you guys all friggin' tie. And
so we all tied. So Jesse won with 10 out of 12 in the bracket challenge, and Kevin, Peter, and myself all finished with 5 out of 12. I guess that's why Jesse's
2 points because I doubled it.
Yeah. Jesse's upset.
Your wins.
Jesse's upset because we get a point still.
I'm upset because you all shit the bed hard. No one gets
a minus. Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens when you tie for second, man. So because of the playoff bracket, that puts Jesse +2 prior to today, and then the rest of us are +1 prior to coming in today. But then we also had last weekend, we had a little bet between Kevin and Jesse. Kev had bet Jesse 1 point that in the Rams-Niners NFC Championship game, Kev said that Stafford would throw 2 picks or more.
He should have. That fucking number 3 on San Francisco.
Jesse took the bet, and Kev was a fucking millisecond of closing his arms sooner from winning that bet. So that means that Jesse adds another one prior to the show. So he is +3 prior to today. And Kevin, that means you ended up being even prior to today.
Woo!
Now getting into this week's challenges. So first off, we had Hard and Hardaway.
Stupid bitch
challenge. So Jesse receives a -1 for that. And Josh gets a +1 for that one. We have the one at the end here with Burrow, which means that Jesse gets a +1 and Josh gets a -1. And then we also had the Tom Brady draft, and we had initially said that I got the point, but then Jesse rebuffed in our MVP break. And so this is a hard one because Jesse said it was 2 years between the Rams winning the Super Bowl and Tom Brady being
fucked up again.
drafted.
That was another goof on my mistake. That's not what I was thinking. I was thinking the fucking Super Bowl for some stupid reason. I'm all thinking Super Bowl, man. The Rams
It's all football segment, so why not?
And so I said it was a year, and in actuality, calendar time, it was only a handful of months. But in NFL seasons, it would have been a season, a year, because the season starts obviously after the Super Bowl. So we're unsure of what this point is going. Basically, it's a matter of, I think Jesse's going to get a -1 for sure.
I'm definitely wrong.
But it's whether I get a 1 or a 0, I guess would be.
Mm-hmm.
Or would it be a 0? I guess
you wouldn't get a point because
right.
Well, or you would get a minus. You get a minus, or you get the point. It wouldn't be a 0, right?
Yeah. Right. So we just got. We asked Peter because even though he doesn't have the internet to fucking do a Zoom call, he can still text. So we've asked him, but he says he's not active until the 53-man roster, which wouldn't be until September.
That's still less than a year, though.
Still less than a year. I don't know, Kev, you're the only bipartisan here, man. You got to make a decision. It's either I get a +1 or I get a -1.
I gotta give it to you, Yosh.
Oh, Jesse, yeah, fucker. Thanks, buddy. I mean, I appreciate it. We can revisit this over the week.
It is a questionable issue too.
Yeah, it is. Like it totally is. I mean, it's either a total bosh in regards to this one. Doesn't even matter because I mean, if you're both somewhat right and you're both somewhat wrong, then
I'm definitely wrong.
Then if you're definitely wrong,
but I said the completely wrong thing. I was thinking
right.
Well, then I should go to Yosh.
No, but what he's saying is that he was wrong, but I might have been wrong too, depending on how we're looking at it. Like I said, the next year, had I said next season, I would have 100% won. Mm-hmm. But because I said the next year, that implies calendar year versus NFL year.
Yeah. Well,
and Peter says the active roster. Like, I guess what he's saying, because you did read it as active roster, you would be right that he would have to be able to. If you're saying active roster, you're saying he has to be in the game too. But he was the backup.
Well, as long as he's a backup QB,
he was going to be starting that or not starting in that game, right? So like, there's not a chance like you're going to roll in with only one QB,
right? All right. So for now, we'll count it as my point, and then let's visit it over the week here and chat about it and figure it out. And I'm fine with taking a minus later on if we deem that I was incorrect as well. I think that's the only fair way to do this. We actually have to look into this a little bit more and not waste our loyal listeners' time by gabber yakking. All right. So all said and done after today and the playoff bracket, Peter, his season totals, even though he wasn't here, somehow he ends up +3.
You guys all shit the bed.
Kevin, you were a +1 and a -1 for today, including not today, but including the brackets and your dumb bet.
It wasn't a dumb bet. That fucker should have caught the ball.
Yeah, it wasn't a dumb bet,
No,
but I'll agree that there was a lot of drop passes in that game on both sides. Ramsey dropped 2 picks. One could have probably been a pick 6, and Cup dropped one, which I was shocked, and then Ben Skoranek dropped a touchdown pass in the end zone. So like everyone was eating popcorn before the game. That's all I saw. And there was a couple San Fran receivers that dropped the ball too, but they weren't huge gains. They were like, it's Jimmy Garoppolo, so they're only like within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
All right, so it seems that Jess, you are still in the lead for our season totals with a +4. Did I do that right? You're +3.
-2 +1,
which is 4. Pete is in second with a +3. I jumped up a bunch today with a potential question mark. Ended up with a -1 on the season. And Kev, you stayed pat because you said you weren't fucking challenging, bitch. And you're at a -4. But
yeah, it was just me and Yosh because he was catching me fucking up. Me fucking up against the challenge, but at least I am challenging.
There you go. I'll give you that, Jess.
We need to bring in the statistics of who's challenging.
Ooh,
that would be good because then we can start really railing on Peter for being.
I still like the fact that if you have the less alcohol content, you deserve a minus.
I mean, as long as everybody's good with us going to the liquor store and looking for the 8%ers every week, and we're not giving any love to the 5%ers, then
I got a nice one I'm holding off on one just for
this. This season would be out of hand because I already won a few. If that was the case.
I have one that's gonna blow everybody away. Just a matter of when I'm gonna pull it.
I gotta get something for the Super Bowl for you guys. Like the last time we had a Super Bowl party, I had it for celebrating. I just drank it by myself because of a poor showing by the Rams.
We had to get fucking wasted. Like, fuck this shit. I fucking hate the Rams.
I was a little upset with that, but it quickly changed. I know, like it was also Bill Belichick, so he probably cheated around there or something like that. And that was one of the games that Brady shit the bed, and we didn't take advantage of it. But he does that often, and he still wins. So it's the kind of quarterback he is.
Fair enough. All right, Kev, how was your drink? It was a top dog today, tied with me. How was
it? My Fax Royal Strong, 8%, was good, man. I mean, surprisingly good. I mean, I thought this thing was just gonna taste horror awful, but no, it was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. I might actually sport this one again. Jess, how was yours?
How was your bitch beer, Jess?
My other Danish beer. Way to get with the program there, Yosh.
Hey, I'm local, boys. I stay local. All right.
You gotta get the Dane beer.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt with the Danish beer because you're fucking got some Danish roots. But Kev, you gotta stay local, bro.
Hey man, I saw it and I liked it. I mean, I don't know. Said strong beer, had 8% on it. I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah, I've had that one a couple of times, but I prefer the premium one. I know it was only 5%. Yes, it was the bitch beer today, but it's still one of my favorites. And I will continue to get this. I might get it for next week with you guys.
Huh, look at you.
Huh. Then I know
Just
I'm
to show
gonna,
my support for my roots, and it was a good. It's a really good beer.
it is good. I mean, surprisingly, really good.
Surprisingly, Yosh, how is your tied for top dog?
Tied for top dog. My
A lot of ties this week. For some
yeah. My Fermentator Double IPA from Furnace Room Brewery out of Georgetown, pretty fucking good. As I said, it had a little bit more of the citrusy, fruity taste, which I do like in a beer. And this one was top notch. It's 8%, as you said, Jess. It was tied for the lead today, so definitely not the bitch. I gotta stock the fridge with this one. Actually, I like it, and I've had a couple, and I'm a wee bit tipsy, so you know it's all right. It's all right.
Worked out for you today, didn't
It did work out, yeah.
I kinda like
Usually, the more I drink, the worse I do. But today, I happened to work out.
That was the problem with me. I was the bitch here, and I
Yep.
fucking struggled.
See,
I kind of like
I
that.
gotta-
What your can look
I gotta
like.
get the most content, or at least some content.
okay, so for everyone here at Points and Penalties, we'd like to thank you all for listening. Please subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Please give us a like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Points Penalties. And until next week, stay out of the penalty box.